What is going on? We are back, baby. Welcome to the extras. Happy Friday. We made it through another one, man. We are here. Appreciate y'all joining. Becky was first in the chat. What's going on, Becky? Hope you're doing well. Sorry, just getting situated here. Get my stuff in position. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. Awesome. Looks like volume is good. Nugget Man in the chat, he says he's number 2. Taking a 2. Okay. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Hope you had a good week as well. Nance in there as well. Cleaning up from dinner. Still beat Meech. Well, hey, I appreciate you for being here. Hopefully dinner went well for you. I just had a Sheets dinner. So, yeah. Not, not the greatest, but convenient. Food is actually what we're talking about today. I saw this video from like 10 months ago that I'm going to show you. And it got me thinking about my time in the restaurant business. And I saw another one a few days ago from another channel about restaurants and why all their food tastes the same now. So we're going to check out a few of those. And then, of course, we've got some TikTok stories and reactions. Because, we always have to hear from the talk. Because they really have their finger on the pulse of what the young people are doing. And that is what matters when you're in the restaurant business. Nance says, that sounds hazardous. Hold on. Are we set up here? No, we are not. What is happening here? Okay. I don't know what happened there. Nance, my hazardous button is not working. Oh my gosh. Becky says, it was an Applebee's night with no broccoli. Okay, Applebee's with no broccoli. Does that mean you ordered broccoli and they didn't give it to you? Or they didn't have it and you want it? I don't know. I've not had the broccoli at Applebee's, but I wouldn't guess that they're like the champions of fresh fruit and vegetables at that place. Black Magic in the chat as well. Happy Friday to you as well, sir. He says I'm ready for some Drew's extras. Let's do this. Well, thank you for being here. As a side note, Becky says they don't have it. They did not have broccoli in the building at Applebee's. That goes along perfectly with what we're going to talk about today. Because not only have restaurants all kind of gone downhill in the past, 5 years, but really, they've all become the same. And that's the worst part. So, we've got a few different points here that I want to look into. I'm trying to figure out why my sounds aren't on. Yeah, I don't know. Everything is still set up over here on this side. I'm gonna have to investigate that. Oh well, we'll figure it out later. This is a hazardous building. Or no, we're considered a hazardous building. They said they can't get broccoli due to a recall. Okay, now, if broccoli's been recalled, I don't want it. So, I got you. Okay. Nugget Man says Chili's was out of broccoli too last weekend. No kidding. See, Becky says, but Denny's and Bob Evans has it. Nance says Snitz must have done an update. You know what? I think Snitz needs to do an update. I think this is the problem. I think just it hasn't been updated in a long time. It's literally exactly how I set it up like 8 months ago. But side note, if you're a follower of the extras, you know about the blue drink, okay? And I've been informed by the forum r/Red Bull that the primary ingredient in blue drink is going to be discontinued. So get out there and try you a Red Bull Coconut Edition with either Grey Goose or Belvedere, and that is the official blue drink. But I think you have to the end of the year to try that. And I believe the supply is going to cut off here soon. So, anyways, what I was saying about the Chili's and the Applebee's, I feel like all of those restaurants have become kind of the same exact thing. Like, I remember when I was a kid going out to those places, and obviously when you're young, you know, you have kind of the rose-colored glasses, but number one, the restaurants were distinct from each other. TGI Fridays, Chili's, Applebee's, whatever. We had a bunch of those types of places around here. Missing in the chat, he says, that is the best Red Bull. How's it going, everyone? How is your Friday going, Missing? Thank you for being here. I agree. It is one of the best Red Bull. I would say that their summer flavor this year, it was called White Peach. That one was amazing. I wish that it was still around, and I heard rumors that it could become a permanent flavor next year, so hopefully they do that. But yeah, if you're a fan of the Coconut Edition, get out there and stock up. But like, okay, so these like mid-tier restaurants, like your low-level sit-down place, right? They all had kind of their own soul, you know? Different things were desirable about them. Maybe they had a drink you liked, or, you know, Chili's had their baby back rib special that was huge. Now, all those places are kind of the same. They look the same on the outside, they look the same on the inside, and part of that is that the real reason that restaurants exist is not to feed us, okay? It is to preserve real estate. And I know this is like the boring side, but that's why I lead with it. The reason all the restaurants look the same now is so that if one fails, they can move another one right into it. You know, so if, like before, when you looked at a Pizza Hut or a Wendy's, for example, those places had a signature look to the building. So even when the restaurant was gone, you could be like, that was a Pizza Hut, right? Well, now they've modernized everything so that if McDonald's closes, they can move a Wendy's in there with little to no modification to the exterior of the building. And that is really what restaurants' job is just to preserve, just to keep paying the bills on the real estate, on the land, or on the shopping center, or wherever it is, okay? So that's the boring part. Now, as these restaurants, who barely make it because the margins are razor thin and the competition is high, they are getting squeezed now as they start to go bankrupt and are purchased by private equity buyers and these large conglomerates of restaurant companies that have come to own almost every restaurant that you can, chain restaurant, like a national chain restaurant, everyone you can think of is mostly part of some sort of restaurant group or investment group or consortium owns them. It's not like, there's very few mom and pop restaurant chains in existence at all, and that's because it's nearly impossible to have one or start one or keep one. Black Magic says, we're getting some crazy storms here in Arizona. Supposed to get 4 to 7 inches of rain between now and Monday night. Wow! Almost a year's worth of rain in a few days. I think we average around 7 inches a year. That's crazy. And a flood in the desert is going to be epic too, because there's just the ground doesn't absorb any water, so it just moves. Oh man. I hope that everyone is ready down there and everyone is prepared. Keep an eye on the weather alerts for sure. You don't want to get caught in flash flooding. Restaurants are like a lot of businesses now. There are a few big companies that own everything. That's right, Black Magic. That's true. A lot of industries have kind of streamlined, as these kind of entities that own the companies become larger. It becomes harder and harder to operate outside of one because you're competing against them. So they have certain strategic advantages as a giant corporation that a mom and pop restaurant wouldn't have, or even a 20 to 50 location franchise would not have, because they're not going to have the buying power of a place like a national chain. So that translates to when you order your food and you only have 5 restaurants, you have to pay what the supplier asks you to pay. But when you're McDonald's, you tell the supplier what you want and what you're going to pay. And then they make proposals to you. So that's kind of, it's a totally different ball game. Black Magic says, I wish I was still in San Diego, Nugget. Yeah, I bet. Especially with that weather coming. Nugget Man says, beautiful sunsets with the tropical clouds here in San Diego. Yeah, I bet. I love a sunset when a storm is rolling in, man. It's really cool. Yes, yeah, exactly. Because of the thin margins, they operate on volume, whereas mom and pop restaurants can't afford to stay open with margins like that. Exactly. So if they don't have some sort of competitive edge that justifies their reason for being more expensive than their competition, which a lot of places, do kind of engineer something like that. It has to do a lot with marketing and your skill as a restaurant owner, but it's becoming easier to beat these chains because as they have become part of these huge conglomerates, they've all kind of homogenized. Just like the buildings all look the same, the menus all look the same. And there's a video that came out like almost a year ago from Vox about desserts and how every restaurant that you go to, now barring a really high-end place, okay? Because Falcor in the chat, what's going on, Falcor? Hope you had a great week. Happy Friday. We're talking restaurants and how they all suck now. And all their food tastes the same, and it's terrible. Oh, all the Rite Aids are closing down. Wow. I did not hear that. But that doesn't surprise me, Nugget Man. That does not surprise me because we had a couple in this area, and the ones that I'm aware of at least, are not there anymore. Becky says, all we have here is CVS and Walgreens. Okay. Black Magic says, I love the rain because it's so rare here, but people freak out and forget how to drive and do dumb stuff like driving through washes with inches of moving water. Yeah, that's you know, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, I guess, because you have a bunch of people who aren't really accustomed to dealing with that situation all at once. CVS and Target are owned by the same. No kidding. Falcor says, you people are so behind. All the Rite Aids closed in Ohio forever ago. Yeah, I was not aware that Rite Aid even existed anymore at all. Yeah, that's crazy. But so as they've all kind of become the same, they all get their stuff from the same place too. Like when I worked in restaurants, like the places that I worked at that had wings, we would get actual raw wings and prep them and cut them, and we did the breading would go on right before they went into the fryer. Now places get frozen wings that are pre-prepared that they just throw in the fryer for a few minutes and they're already done. Like a lot of things that you get in restaurants are just something that is frozen and you throw it in the fryer and it's done. Mozzarella sticks, pickle chips, mac and cheese bites, whatever kind of thing like that you get off of a appetizer menu. It's all the same stuff. But it used to be that places would make that in-house. So one place might have a better version of it because of the way they make it, or a seasoning they use, or a certain procedure they follow. But now, all these places, all they do is just reheat food. They're just reheaters. And it's such a waste of money to me. Becky says ours have been closed since last year. Nugget says my Taco Bell and KFC are in the same building. Taco Bell and KFC, I believe, are owned by the same. They're both owned by Yum Brands, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they're owned by the same. And that's why a lot of those are like those combination buildings you see. Those are, they're just trying to get a more efficient use of the real estate, because like Wendy's wasn't able to pay the lease on this building. So now it's a half Wendy's, half Tim Hortons. So still the same building, still the same footprint, just a little bit more utilities, and you got two restaurants running in there so they can cover the expenses on the land, and that's really all that matters. The restaurant does not matter at all. Only the land, and keep paying for the land. And the owners of the land do not want to pay for it. That's the key. They only want to own it and sell it when it's worth more money. This is the game. Nugget says cooks are definitely different than chefs. Yes, absolutely. You go to a high-end restaurant, every single one of those desserts is going to be made in-house. But if you're... I mean, man, most places do not make their own desserts because they can't. They can't pay someone, because an actual pastry chef is going to ask for a lot more money than they want to pay. They want to pay someone $10 an hour to take cheesecake out of the freezer and put it in the fridge, and then once it thaws, cut it into slices and put strawberry glaze on it, and that's it. Oh, Daniel Alexander Jensen in the chat. What is going on, Daniel? Hope you're having a great week. Happy Friday to you. But yes, definitely, Nugget, there's a difference between a cook and a chef. And we will see that today. So first, let's check out that video from Vox about the desserts. And hopefully, you know, we don't get copyright claim, but if we do, then whatever.
Harbor Freight tools keep getting better with...
A lot of these channels get so mad when people react to their content. So, I don't want to get in trouble here, but I think this is a really interesting video, and this is where I got my chocolate lava cake for the thumbnail. Nugget says, what was that pie restaurant in Northeast Ohio? Perkins? Yes, Perkins was a place around here. Perkins is gone, though. That's long gone. Hopefully we got volume here.
There's something you might notice when you go out to eat. Depending on the restaurant you go to, the entree...
This is Vox, and the video is called "Why Every Restaurant Has the Same Desserts." And I don't know why they didn't capitalize their title, but hey, lay it on.
And drinks can vary a lot. But then, the dessert menu drops, and you're almost always left staring down the same options.
Yep.
A cheesecake.
There it is. There it is. The lame cheesecake you get at a restaurant. You paid $8.99 for that thing, and there's nothing done to it whatsoever except they pulled it out of the freezer and cut it into little baby slices like that.
A chocolate lava cake and some type of...
Nugget says, I like desserts. Me too. I will actually pick a restaurant based on the dessert sometimes, because if a place makes their own desserts, I'm all about it. If you're going to pay a pastry chef to actually make stuff, if you're going to pay a chef to make pies for you and cakes and whatever all day, I'm there, dude. Because if you're going to do that detail, all the other stuff is going to be good too. Becky says, I used to, they just don't like me. Yeah, Becky had to cut sugar out of her diet. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. You're healthier for it. But, you know, once in a while, you can have a little something. Just, you know, you can't go crazy and eat something at these restaurants because their portions are always, like, ridiculous. They'll serve you something that's like a 3,000 calorie dessert. Not this, though. This is like 2 bites of apple crisp here. That's probably reheated, but okay. Sorry, bacon strips. I already paused it. Talked over. Here we go.
Options. A cheesecake. Maybe a chocolate lava cake and some type of fruit pie. Probably a sorbet or ice cream. Desserts in a lot of restaurants are kind of boring. There's a reason why, but it doesn't have to be this way.
My music's kind of clashing with theirs.
Menu
Sorry
curation
about that.
can make or break a restaurant, because frankly, it's really hard to make money in this business.
Yes,
profit margins
absolutely
for restaurants
is.
are not particularly high. It's interesting because so many people want to go into the restaurant business because they think it's glamorous or whatever.
Yeah, well, really, the only reason to go into the restaurant business is if you enjoy it and you have experience in it. If you don't have both of those things, do not do it. But just a little aside, I'm not sure if they're going to explain, but the way pricing works at a restaurant is you have your food cost on a dish, okay? And that is the amount that it actually costs you to buy the ingredients in a given plate. Not to make them, but just to purchase them, okay? And you take that amount and you multiply it by 3. And that's how they derive the menu price generally, because you need to cover food, labor, and overhead, okay? So that's the general rule of how items are priced in a restaurant, and that goes for any item. Alcohol is a little different because they charge way more. Becky says, the Cheesecake Factory had good red velvet cheesecake. You know, they actually are making the cheesecakes. So yeah, I'll give it to you. The Cheesecake Factory has a lot of good things. And in order to work there, it's an insane amount of knowledge that you have to have about the menu and how all the dishes are prepared. And that's just to be a server. If you're going to work in the back, oh my gosh, dude, that place is big pressure. The managers of those places make 6 figures. That's a big deal, dude. That's a high pressure restaurant. This is, okay, sorry. I don't think she even introduced herself yet. Here we go.
Into the restaurant business because I think it's glamorous or whatever. It's definitely less than 10%.
Catherine Gordon teaches restaurant and culinary management at the Institute of Culinary Education in New York.
The revenue's going to come in on the food and the beverage sales, and then there's going to be the cost of goods to support those food and beverage sales.
Yeah.
Things like ingredients and staff salaries, rent, electricity, and more.
What's left is a low number, and then of course it has to be taxed after that.
The menu is really their one chance to maximize profits, but it's a delicate balance. Charge too much and people won't buy it. Charge too little and you'll miss out.
Exactly.
When priced right, the entrees will bring in the most profit. And it's not really a secret that drinks are relatively cheap to make and easy to upcharge.
Drinks
Both
bring in the most
alcoholic
profit
and
by far.
non-alcoholic. And
I mean, maybe as a percentage of the whole restaurant, maybe, but the actual margin, the profit margin percentage on alcohol is astronomically higher than every other thing in the restaurant. Like, this is kind of the spread of where their income streams are. Desserts are a great way to recover some of those lost costs in the other categories, and also alcohol, just because they can charge so much more than they pay for it, and it really doesn't cost a lot to serve.
And people will often pay that multiple times throughout a meal. But outside of drinks and entrees, it's not so easy to make money. Look at appetizers, for example, with an average profit margin all the way down at 22%. Luckily, if you're savvy, there are ways to work appetizers into a menu and recoup the cost.
So what people try to do is like what we call cross-utilization of product.
For example, you can buy a full chicken cheaper than pieces of a chicken, and then
You might be able to use the chicken.
This is what we did at one of the places I worked at, is you break down the entire chicken, and we would use different parts of the chicken for different dishes. So you have the breast meat for one thing, you got the rib meat for another thing, you got the legs, and yeah. And then you even have the bones you can use to make broth and all of that stuff. But a lot of restaurants aren't doing that stuff anymore. The reason appetizers are so low profit is because they're just buying frozen stuff and heating it up, and that frozen stuff is expensive.
Bones after it's broken down for your base for your stock.
Yeah.
And then that stock can become a sauce or it can become a soup, and you can sell that. And then you can sell like your chicken breast like on a salad or something, at lunch, and then you can have the chicken thighs in a dish at the dinner time.
Sure.
And then you might even have like little scrap pieces, and I don't know, you're selling chicken tacos at the bar, something
That's
like
called
that.
the rib meat.
So it's like full utilization.
so when done properly, the menu fits together like a neat little puzzle.
Yes.
But desserts are sometimes hard to fit in. Making them is one thing, but making them well requires an entirely different skill set from the rest of the kitchen. Plus,
Yes.
You want that
It is a
amazing
fully
wow
separate
kind of
chef
thing at your
to
restaurant.
make the desserts.
You have to dedicate space, and not every place has it because the rents for how many square feet you're getting is just astronomical these days, and people just can't afford more little physical location.
Yeah, so a lot of times the way they get around that is the dessert person is working at off-peak times. So they're going to come in the morning and work, or they'll work between lunch and dinner when the kitchen is less busy and the prep areas aren't occupied by people getting ready for lunch and dinner service. Nugget Man says all McDonald's burgers except for the Quarter Pounder are frozen. Yeah, that's why I always, if I go to McDonald's, I go for the Quarter Pounder because at least the meat is gonna be decent. The chicken comes frozen with grill marks on it. Yes, it does. And there's also another product that a lot of companies use called liquid smoke. And what that does is it imparts the flavor of smokiness to make something taste like it was cooked in a broiler when it wasn't. So yeah. But okay, so here we go.
there's also
let's see what they
ingredients to
say.
consider.
cream cheese and chocolate and nuts and things like that. You may not be using them in other parts of your menu.
Desserts are one
No
of the most
kidding.
expensive things to make in terms of ingredients.
Ingredient costs in the world
Yeah,
change
but you're
like
charging
consumers
for them.
see inflation as well.
It's more than the egg inflation we've all been frustrated with.
See,
In
and
2018, the cost of vanilla skyrocketed due to a crisis in Madagascar. It's stabilized,
I feel
but
like
it's never really returned to where it once
if
was.
a place has
Bad
good
weather in West
desserts,
Africa,
you're
where
more
around
likely to
70%
go
of the
there.
world's cocoa
Like
comes from,
these
has led to
these
dramatic
places
increases as
that
well.
have the
When
crappy
all is said and done,
like frozen
desserts are
stuff.
tied with appetizers as
People
the
aren't
lowest
people
average
aren't
profit
calling
margins
their
in
friends
restaurants,
about
and one of the hardest
a
to fit
thawed out
into that neat
cheesecake.
little menu
You
puzzle.
know, nobody's
So when a
posting that on
restaurant is struggling,
Instagram.
In-house pastry chefs are often the first to go, especially because restaurants
Yeah,
can offer
exactly.
desserts at
Yeah.
a much lower
That's like
cost
what we
by
were talking
outsourcing
about.
them entirely. Thus, the same desserts everywhere you go. But there is something about dessert these places are often missing: the marketability of the experience.
Yes.
Okay, but before we get into that, let's take a minute to talk about our sponsor, Bluehost. If you need to
So, if you want to check out Vox and check out the rest of that video, feel free. I will put a link in the description to that one. Now, I think it's pretty obvious after seeing that why places aren't going to have a pastry chef most of the time, unless you're at a high-end place, okay? Now, 2 months ago, I saw this from the...
Hello traders and welcome back to the Trading View channel.
This
In
is
this
a
video, we're
commercial.
introducing
Hold on.
our new AI indicator.
Take
Okay.
a look at Cisco's.
Now, this is CNBC, and they have on the CEO of Cisco, okay? And if you haven't heard of Cisco, they are a wholesale food supplier that supplies most restaurants in America, okay? There's other wholesale food suppliers, but Cisco's the top dog, okay? And here, this is their CEO was on 2 months ago to discuss his Q2 earnings and consumer spending, and he was saying that
Stock. The food distributor shares lower despite reporting beats on the top and bottom lines in its fiscal Q4. Full year guidance coming in a bit below expectations, and the company noting a decline in U.S. food service volumes, driven in part by negative industry foot traffic.
so negative industry foot traffic and a decline in service volumes, that means nobody's going to restaurants, okay? That's fancy for nobody's going to restaurants. But he saw that and he was like, no. I think it's going to be better and people are going to
Joining
spend
us in a
more
CNBC
money.
exclusive is
and-
Cisco CEO Kevin Harakan. It's great to have you, Kevin. I mean, you have such a good lens here into
Yeah.
and hospitals and everything else. What are you seeing?
Yeah, good morning, Sarah. Thank you for having Cisco on your show today. First, let me start with we're pleased with the quarter
Now,
that we just posted. We had a beat on the top.
He is
and
saying
bottom line, a 6.5%
that 2 months ago
earnings per share.
that they were noticing that customers were spending more money at restaurants. And that might be a metric like dollars spent per customer versus actual customers in the building, or dollars made per establishment location, because people are not going to restaurants like they used to at all. And part of that is because of what happened 5 years ago and it took down a lot of restaurants, but part of it is because restaurants have gone up in price and they offer less in value. And this reporter from a channel called More Perfect Union did an amazing video about this called I Tracked Down the Company Ruining Restaurants, okay? And this video is about Cisco and how every restaurant gets their food from Cisco and it has ruined restaurants. So, I thought this was really well done. So we'll check out a little bit of this from More Perfect Union.
I've had a sense that lots of restaurants are
This guy is an awesome journalist an investigator. I absolutely love every thing that he does. It's always like really well put together. So big props to Alec Opperman.
Going to taste the same. And maybe you too have had a sense that something is amiss. So I wanted to test a hypothesis with my coworkers that you can be served the same exact food.
Can I just get the jalapeno poppers?
From totally different restaurants.
The fried pickles.
I love
Can I get
this.
the fried pickles?
But made in the same factory, whether you wanted it or not.
Can I get the funnel cake fries?
Here's the question behind this test.
Say
Are
flew
we
to Alaska,
trapped into eating
New
the
York,
same mediocre
Nebraska
food from New York to Alaska?
to
And if
order
so,
jalapeno
why?
poppers that are
Who's behind
frozen
it?
and all taste the
Right.
same? That's funny. That's
the mystery
dedication.
we're going to unpack today.
Okay.
To get to the bottom of it, first I went to Harlan, Iowa, woke up at 5 a.m. to talk to a restaurant owner about how they get their food.
I'm Ellen Walsh-Roseman, and I own Milk and Honey.
The thing is,
Now, one thing I will say about Cisco is that they don't generally, I don't actually know. They do carry like produce and that type of stuff, but a lot of people will order produce items, fresh produce items from a different manufacturer because the produce supply chain is way different from how Cisco operates. There's a lot of air freight, and timeliness is really important, and they don't really mess with it. They do a lot of refrigerated dry goods, you know, like your cups and whatever, that kind of junk, paper goods, and then like pantry stuff as well. So but yeah, so this is a small restaurant in Harlan called Milk and Honey.
Ellen's restaurant does it differently than most restaurants in 2025. She showed me how she makes something from scratch for French toast. She uses a distributor to get most base ingredients, the milk from a local dairy and the eggs from a local farm, Ellen's. The bread is brioche that the restaurant makes from scratch. From there, the brioche gets baked, cut, dipped in homemade custard.
See, a lot of
grilled, and
places
served
will
to
not
you,
make their
the
own bread
customer.
at
Or
all
what
for
they-
French
oh,
toast.
Me.
No way, they're buying it.
It's very good.
It's not just the French toast. Ellen tries to work with as many local producers as possible.
That's a
This
rare
is our
find.
country skillet,
And
and this is the local.
only
sourdough
mom and pop
bread
places
from
are gonna
a
mess
bakery
with
in
stuff like
Omaha.
this. A
But
big chain
for
is
many
never
restaurants,
gonna do things
sourcing
like
local
that.
ingredients like this is getting harder and harder. Ellen's distributor is regional and employee-owned. But if you're a restaurant owner, especially in a rural area, you might just have one or two distributors to choose from. There's a good chance one of them is a company called Cisco. And they are suspect number one for my
Whenever the
deep
music
fried
like this
mystery.
starts playing in
To
a
hash out that suspicion,
documentary
I spoke to
piece, you
Austin
always
Berg,
know that's the
author
bad
of the
guy.
book Barons, who explained the profound way Cisco is shaping the way we eat out.
The innovation of Cisco was that it was the first national company to essentially offer everything a restaurant needs.
Back in the day, someone like Ellen might have one distributor for
But-
butter and another for eggs.
I would argue that it wasn't so much an innovation as just doing business differently. And I really don't think we have to have a nationalized, homogenized food chain in order for restaurants to have food. But that's just me. I don't know.
But Cisco is what's called a broadliner, supplying
Everything from paper products to meat and produce.
Cisco was a merger of 9 different wholesale restaurant distributors with
Yes.
kind of the
Back in the day.
explicit goal of making a national player.
That was in 1969. Fast forward to today, and Cisco has grown so much that it really only has 2 other competitors in the national space.
Among them, Cisco is the largest, and even a decade ago, controlled an estimated
Wow. So, U.S. Foods is 19%, and they're at 35%.
35% of the market. And this year, their gross profit hit $15 billion.
The scary thing about Cisco was it didn't become this giant through organic growth.
So all of these mom and pop places running on the thinnest margins possible, and these guys are at the top handing them their food and making $15 billion, y'all. What?
But instead, it became a giant through relentless acquisitions that went on.
Yeah.
They've acquired.
So as they acquire more and more people, there's less and less competition. So they can have whatever they want, charge whatever they want, and there's really no option to go anywhere else. Nugget says, where does Wendy's get those square burger patties? You know, I believe Wendy's has a special supply chain just for that. Like, they have their own farms. I think it's all vertically integrated, just like McDonald's does similar things. Like, they are heavily invested in, like, the potato growing for their fries and all of that stuff, because everything has to be the same at every restaurant all across the whole nation. So if you're trying to start a franchise, a place like Cisco is useful because you can say, hey, I have my proprietary this or that, and I need it to distribute it to all of my locations across the country. And also they need 10 other things in order to make it. So, you know, you just order it all from Cisco.
Over 150 companies to become really one of the only national broadline distributors for restaurants.
And this growth, I learned, is deeply changing the way we eat.
That looks gross.
Farm to table.
I don't know what that is. It
Let's
looks
start with
nasty.
the farm part. Ellen tries to work with as many local producers as possible, even when it's more expensive. Cisco, on the other hand, operates with the biggest producers at massive scales to eke out savings. Producers that often have some of the most exploitative.
And they're squeezing. And so not only are they picking the producers that have the questionable ethics and exploitative business practices, they're squeezing them to death to make that $15 billion, man. Like, the farmers are not making money. The restaurants are not making money. The only people making money is the people at the top.
Production models. Cisco gets their berries from companies like Driscoll.
Driscoll's basically took the Nike sweatshop model and applied it to berry production.
And chicken from companies like Tyson.
Tyson's applied a sharecropping model to meat production.
If you use...
Okay. We can talk about Tyson sometime. What he said there is Tyson uses a sharecropping model. What that means is, well, how Tyson operates is that you, as the chicken farmer, have to pay for the land, and you buy all the infrastructure, and you have to have a certain type of building, and certain types of heaters, certain type of air exchanger, certain type of feeder. They specify everything that you have to have. You have to buy it from their approved manufacturers. You have to spend all your own money to do that. And then when you are ready, then you've invested millions of dollars into your chicken farm, then they will send you birds, and then they also decide how much that you're going to get paid for those birds too, and you don't own them because it's their genetics. It's man, we'll talk about that some other time. Tyson chicken is a crazy business.
Used a national distributor. Could you get the Omaha sourdough? Could you get no? And why is that?
So a lot of local distributors or local producers are not able to tap into regional distribution. The volume and production quantities is too high.
Cisco scours the globe for a good deal, and there's reason to be concerned about how they're getting some of those deals.
Seafood is the best example of this. Many providers to Cisco have been accused of engaging in slavery.
Oh yeah.
That includes forced Uyghur and North Korea.
That's the thing too, is when they're getting meats from Cisco, like where are these meats even coming from? That is definitely a question. Tessa is in the chat. What's going on, Tess? Hope you had a great week. Happy Friday to you. But okay, so he's going to talk about the questionable practices of the Cisco meat
about
supplier.
how they're getting some of those deals.
Seafood is the best example of this. Many providers to Cisco have been accused of engaging in slave labor.
That includes forced Uyghur and North Korean labor in China.
Basically, any dark part of the food system has moved offshore, which makes policing it really, really hard to do.
But Cisco doesn't just serve shrimp and strawberries. They have their own line of mass-manufactured frozen foods.
Yes,
Everything
they do.
from sourdough and brioche to, I learned from researching this, jalapeno poppers, other fried appetizers, and desserts.
Now, just like Amazon, they're the ones that decide what the prices are for everything. So if they have their own brand of something, I guarantee that that thing's going to be cheaper than maybe their other brand of mozzarella sticks or whatever. So again, another way that they're kind of incentivizing these restaurants in a roundabout way to all have the exact same stuff.
Frozen food, it turns out, isn't just a facet of the Cisco business model, it drives it.
I don't think Americans
big
appreciate
money.
that frozen food allows these long exploitative supply chains.
In the early 2000s, Cisco was buying jalapeno poppers assembled in Mexico for well below minimum wage.
I love
and
a good
shipped frozen
jalapeno
all over
popper.
the country.
It allows a race to the bottom in terms of labor standards and pay.
Yeah, and that's the worst part is everyone is making money at the top, but none of the people who make it happen are getting paid a fair wage. These people are getting paid pennies and being exploited, and for what? For jalapeno poppers that
So the food
no
we
one's
ordered
happy
could have come
about.
to a distribution center like
Even
this,
the end user
frozen,
isn't happy
shipped
about
to
it.
restaurants
You know what I
across
mean?
the
It's
country,
like
then
the
dumped
only
into a
person
fryer.
winning here
And now
is
the truckers
Cisco
driving those
and the
shipments,
landowners.
they're also getting squeezed by Cisco.
Cisco's
Oh, boy.
continuously lobbying year after year to deregulate the trucking industry.
Yes.
And what we've seen since the 1980s is
And they have a lot of influence there because they have a lot of trucks and they employ a lot of truckers. I actually know a few guys who drive for Cisco.
trucking wages are down nearly 40%.
After the food is unloaded off of trucks, it gets cooked up and put on your plate. And Cisco's dominance means the food on that plate is increasingly the same and increasingly worse.
Yeah.
Do you think regional variety is disappearing?
Yeah, I would say so.
You've probably had a Cisco meal without even realizing it. They offer everything from
You've had
these sad
thousands
bread
of
rolls
Cisco
to
meals.
Wagyu beef burger patties.
Sadly.
If you've ever spent time in a hospital or a prison, you might have had a meal off of a Cisco truck. And if you pay attention, they're everywhere.
Yes, they
And
are.
so it's getting harder and harder to avoid getting the exact same frozen meal at your local diner or brewery. It probably won't taste that great either.
If you were to buy pre-made brioche from one of the big national distributors,
They probably will try to keep things cheap, so like they're probably not going to use butter.
so they'll use like a canola oil
Sure,
or
yeah,
shortening,
shortening or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
and it'll
and
be
then, like,
made
the
in a
sugar
big
might be, like,
industrial
processed
facility
sugar, like
full of
high-fructose corn syrup.
rats.
Austin found a story of a Pennsylvania diner whose burgers
Allegedly.
weren't frying the
I don't
same
know.
on the grill. When the owner investigated, he realized the patties now contain soy protein filler. Cisco and their competitors
see?
are flooding restaurants with ultra-processed food like this.
Exactly,
Now, you
man.
might-
And they're selling it just as a regular burger patty, but it's full of these fillers. And even the restaurant owner didn't know that they were in there. So how do you expect to know yourself as a consumer? We're totally in the dark about this stuff.
I'd expect that with a deep fried cheddar jalapeno popper, but maybe less so with something like bread.
The irony is, you could be a diner in a small town in Iowa, surrounded by some of the world's best farmland, and yet nothing on the menu is coming from around you.
Yeah.
It's low-quality products produced by people being exploited outside the national borders.
The system
Oh,
isn't
wait,
exactly
hold on.
working
Nugget,
out for restaurant
did you
owners
see
or
that?
local distributors.
People being exploited.
Look, they got the patty shapes
It's
right
low-quality
there.
products produced by people being exploited.
Round, home style, smash, or oval. So you can literally order what shape of patty you want. Not just a circle or square. They got the thickness, they got the style. You got all kind of different hamburger patties, and they're probably all full of soy filler garbage, whatever, like he was just talking about.
Outside the national borders.
The system isn't exactly working out for restaurant owners or local distributors either.
With the competition bought out, Sysco has more leverage to arbitrarily raise prices.
Of course they do,
During
because
COVID,
where
for
else are you gonna
instance,
go?
They used their market power to pass on inflation to their customers and increase their earnings by 159%. Sysco CEO even...
So while all the restaurants in the nation were struggling, half of the restaurants closed forever. Some who had been operating for decades and were centerpieces of the towns that they were in. Those places are closing, all the while this guy and his company is just raking it in on their backs.
said on an earnings call that they had no intention of competing on price.
I agree. I have not had an oval burger either. I don't know what that
Cisco.
What that
And so
refers
if
to.
you are
If you
in
need
a
oval
rural area
bun
where
for it, I don't know.
There, aren't any other distributors, then restaurants really don't have many options at all. As we've lost some of that regional wholesale infrastructure, we also see the loss of local businesses, local farms, and a regional food
That's
system.
a shame, man.
In general, restaurant owners have little recourse when Sysco screws them over.
And when these farms
Complaints
leave,
are rampant
they don't
about
come
late
back,
deliveries,
you guys.
Crushed eggs below
There's
stacks
no
of
one
boxes,
to replace these
even
people.
swapping ingredients without
When the
informing
farmers
restaurants.
retire, there's no one taking
As
their
the
place.
industry continues to consolidate, these issues will only get worse. Sysco already tried to buy their largest competitor,
Of
US
course
Foods,
they did.
but was shut down by the FTC.
Which is shocking.
Now,
that
Sysco's
wouldn't
two
happen
largest
now.
competitors are
I bet
signaling they might try to merge. In an environment
It's
where
their
the
only
biggest
chance to
companies
stand
aggressively
up to
push out
Cisco
competition,
is to
makes
create
sense.
another Cisco.
It also means restaurants will have even less choice than they already do.
Yeah.
And farmers will have less bargaining power when selling their food.
The most
And
aggressive,
they'll make even less
gold
money. So
standard,
what is their
thing that an
incentive
antitrust
to
enforcer
continue
could
to
do
produce
would be
food?
to look at some of these deals and say, maybe we went too far. Like maybe we let Cisco acquire too many companies.
Oh,
and
well,
we should unwind
can't really
some of
put
those
the
and
genie back in
break
the
up
bottle, can you?
Cisco. That's something that we've seen antitrust enforcers take on with past deals like Ticketmaster.
The FTC
Yeah,
could also
great
block
example.
future acquisitions, and states and federal regulators could scrutinize discount programs that people like Claire and Austin suspect Cisco is using to drive out the competition. But what about my mission to get the same food in entirely different states? We ordered a mix of jalapeno poppers,
this is
fried
the
pickles,
cool
and
part.
funnel
Look at
cake
this.
fries. In Nebraska,
Funnel
New
cake
York,
fries.
New
Okay,
Jersey,
that must have been that
Pennsylvania,
thing he
and
kept
in
showing.
Alaska.
Funnel cake fries. I don't think I've ever had those,
Alright.
but I can
Moment of
imagine
truth.
what they are, I guess.
Jalapeno popper.
Okay.
Never been to this restaurant, never been to the city, but it just tastes like something I've had 100 times.
Yeah.
In Omaha, I am pretty sure I got the Cisco brand jalapeno popper, though
Black Magic says,
their main competitor sells almost
as long as everyone's palms are greased, they don't care and they'll approve anything.
the same thing.
That's right.
The one that I
man.
got in Brooklyn was clearly different than that one and was a little bit better. Here in New Jersey, I ordered funnel cake fries. They seem exactly the same as the ones I got in Omaha. A fellow producer
Wow.
also ordered them in Philadelphia and another in
Okay, so it's just like
They
little
look
strips
pretty
of funnel
similar.
cake. I got you.
I also ordered some fried pickles, which is what my fellow producer ordered in Philly. They're clearly different. One is chips, one is spears, but there's a chance
Yeah.
that I got these Cisco pickle spears. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
You've probably had a frozen Cisco meal and thought it was
And something like pickle chips? Why? Why are you getting that from Cisco when you could just get pickles from Cisco and make them? You're a restaurant. That's why we're coming there to eat food that was made by... If I'm going to eat frozen crap that's just reheated, I can do that at home for way less money and not have to come to a restaurant. Like, what are they trying to do
totally
here?
fine. But the point is, in this giant food system, something is being lost. Regional variety, local jobs, local businesses, and just having a unique meal. A meal that's different.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that channel,
We
dude.
are always
And that's-
interested in stories about
That is a really cool story, and I think he did a great job with it. He's almost at 1.7 million views on that video. So get over there, check out more Perfect Union for more stories like that. But of course, we had to check what was going on the talk, because if a story like this resonated with that many people on YouTube, I knew that over on TikTok there were some people that had already called it, and I was not disappointed. Okay, these first people, these two are pointing out kind of the same thing, is that TikTok will sometimes overhype a restaurant. People will kind of take their cool photo or their cool video of a place and make it look like amazing, but then you actually go there and it's not the same. It says POV, you go to a restaurant, TikTok hyped up, and it was trash. Man, that face, dude. And they're both wearing their little Happy New Year headband thing. Like, that's so sad. That's so sad. You can't be out here misrepresenting restaurants, okay? That's Miriam West on TikTok if you want to check out her channel. But yeah, I definitely have been there. When a place is hyped up and it's not what everyone said it was going to be. I clicked on the wrong one. Sorry. There we go.
Y'all need to start lying on this app.
This is Lily Marie 95.
Y'all will hype up anything, especially a nasty restaurant. I mean, nasty.
Yes.
I've been seeing so many TikToks about this restaurant in Columbia called Flaming Girl. That restaurant is nasty. It is nasty to me. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
No sugarcoating.
At this point, I'm about to stop following y'all up about these restaurants because y'all don't know what good food is.
She went to the restaurant to be like, y'all, 0 out of 10, do not recommend. I love it. Here is another creator who kind of realized that all of the food at the restaurants, Black Magic says, I like this lady. I like her too. That's why I included her in the thumbnail. That's Lily Marie 95. I love her personality. Okay. Yeah, so this girl posted this, I think, in August, and she picked up on the industrial taste of the food at different restaurants.
Can anyone else, like, not eat at chain?
This is, Binky. Binky is her name. Binky. Jodisix on
sit-down restaurants
TikTok.
anymore? Like Olive Garden or Chili's. Like, I used to love them. I worked at Chili's, loved the food, but lately it's like really freaking.
Meech in the chat, she says, hey party people, what is going on, Meech? We are learning about why restaurants suck now, and drinking maybe the last blue drink of all time because they are discontinuing coconut Red Bull.
Me out. Like, every time I eat it,
Sorry.
it doesn't like feel like. Anyone else like not eat at chain sit-down restaurants anymore? Like Olive Garden or Chili's?
I don't,
like,
because
I
I
used to
hate
love
it now.
them. I worked at Chili's, loved the food, but lately it's like really freaking me out. Like, every time I eat it, it doesn't like feel like real food. Like, it feels like it was made in a lab, which
Yeah.
it probably was in some like,
Yes.
really nice test kitchen and everything. But like, I know it's.
I don't know about really nice test kitchen. It's made in some sort of industrial facility, though. Yeah. The last blue drink. Yeah, I think the end of the year they are discontinuing the coconut edition of the Red Bull, but it might be to make way for the white peach to become permanent. So I will take that trade-off.
Prepackaged and comes in frozen, blah blah blah. But I could get past that before, and now it's just different. It feels like, I don't know, like dystopian slop, like presented as a nice meal.
Yes.
I don't know if my tastes are just changing or what, but this is like a recent thing. I used to think like Texas.
Yeah, like in the movies, like growing up, movies that took place in the future, they're always eating garbage. You know, like some kind of slop. They're not eating like fancy food at all. It's just somehow sci-fi decided that future food is going to be crap and no one's going to like it.
Roadhouse was the pinnacle of dining. And now when I have a
Texas Roadhouse was the pinnacle of dining. Maybe when you were a kid it was. And it could be that when we were kids it was better. It could also be that when you're a kid things seem better because you don't have the jaded feelings of adulthood creeping in, sucking the life out of you, you know? You could enjoy a piece of cheesecake that was just frozen for 8 months before you ate it and not even notice. Black Magic says, I was a nurse's aide for a while years ago, and all nursing home and hospital food tasted the same. We're almost at that point with restaurants now for the same reason. It comes from the same place. It's sad. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And just like they were saying in that video, if you're at a nursing home or a hospital, they're probably getting their food from Cisco. So, at least you know when you go to the hospital, you're going to get just as good of food as if you went to a restaurant. But yeah, I agree. It does all taste the same because they don't put seasoning on anything because, you know, they don't want anything to be offensive to anyone's sensitive palate. So they have to have everything with no seasoning whatsoever. Meech says, I'm trying to remember the last time I ate at a sit-down casual chain. Yeah, I never would. I would get pickup from a place like Applebee's or something, but yeah, every time you sit down in there, it's gonna be a horrible experience. I went to Chili's like 6 months ago, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. It's horrible.
steak from them, and it tastes the same every time, and it cuts the same every time, and it's like perfect. I'm like, is there fucking like wood filler in this? Like,
yes, there actually could be.
Like, what did they do to this steak? Doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah.
Question mark?
She's absolutely right, dude. Absolutely right. Missing says they can't wait until 3D printed food is a thing. It might already be, and we just don't know it. We're not seeing how the sausage is being made, you know? Black Magic says it all has that institutional flavor. Yes, it just tastes like metal. Like those metal pans that it sits in, that's the only flavor that's imparted into the food. I'm with you. Like, there's no salt in there at all. It's just mush. Meech says, not gonna lie, that first meal after giving birth when I was in a hospital could have been fine dining because I was starving. Well, and in a hospital, I get that they have to tightly control patient nutrition. But in a restaurant, I feel like we don't all have to have the same jalapeno poppers. Jalapeno poppers are another thing that's not hard to make. Like, if you're gonna charge me $11 for pickle spears and not even make them in the building, get out of here. You can't cut a jalapeno open and put cream cheese in it and throw it in the fryer? Jesus. Like, and they're $12 and they paid nothing for them. They paid 60 cents for the jalapeno poppers. You paid $12 for it. It's crazy. This lady just says she was offended by how bad the food is at the restaurants.
Bitch, I am officially over the...
She comes in hot. I forgot. Okay. I don't know how you say her name, so this is her account here. Rayona Mion. I don't know.
Bitch, I am officially over the super packed, viral, busy brunch spots.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that I'll be paying you.
Look at her kid. I love it.
Because what? We just left crack in New Orleans. Like, bitch, I am offended. What you say, baby? Absolutely garbage.
So dry. The only thing that was good was the fried crab. It was so bad.
If the kid says it was bad,
I'm not even
that's
putting
bad.
it on a scale. I can't even say 5 out of 10. I'm not even putting it on a fucking scale.
She can't even put it on the scale, y'all. If it doesn't weigh anything, you can't weigh it.
I didn't even like my cocktail. Now, excuse me, I'm a drink girl. I'm gonna drink my drink. If I don't like nothing at the
Sure,
restaurant,
sure.
I'ma
I'm
drink
with
my
you.
drink.
I'm with you. I
tastes like
paid for it, so I'm
sparkling
gonna drink that thing. Yep.
Horrible. Fucking horrible, bro. I'm
Sheesh.
fucking over it.
She's over it, y'all. And me too. I definitely, yeah, coming in hot. That's right. I like her because it's honest. And that's what these restaurants need to hear. Meech says, well, we just had Chipotle yesterday, but as far as a sit-down restaurant, it's usually a local-owned place and not a chain. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that you're better off at a locally owned place because you're less likely to get that hyper-processed stuff. And you might actually come across a place that makes the thing that you're ordering in the building that you're ordering it in. Kind of a crazy concept that is even a consideration. Beck says, I would consider Chipotle as a fast food, but locally owned places are the best. Yeah, I agree. Chipotle has gone way downhill too, dude. But that's, you know. They were great back in the day when they first came out, but now they've become just like everyone else. Black Magic says, we can stop all of this real fast by not supporting these companies. We hold all the power. Exactly. Our wallets are the most powerful thing. And when we stop going to these restaurants because it's garbage, then they're going to be forced to change things. And here's Eddie Ocean noticing some of the same things.
More often than not these days, this is what you're going to see when you walk into a chain restaurant. Nobody. Nothing. I had been standing there for about 10 minutes before I started filming.
10 minutes?
One employee came up to greet me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming the workers. The few that I did see in there were working hard and hustling. I do blame the corporations that own these joints.
But I mean, like, if they saw someone standing at the door, you can't just say, hey, sir, somebody will be right with you. Like, really?
And force management to cut back on labor as much as possible. And then
all this POP and garbage in the front. Like, you know this is about to be the worst meal ever. If you walk in, you see all this junk.
Of greed and the bottom line, of course, regardless of what it does to the customer experience.
I totally agree. That looked like a Red Robin there. But it could be basically any place. Meech says, for sure, Chipotle is fast food. We have 2 really good Chipotles near us that are like the good ones 20 years ago. But if we travel, they suck. I'm with you. There's one good Chipotle near me, and if I'm not going to that one, then I'm not getting Chipotle because I know it's going to be bad. And, like, why are we paying $20 for a burrito that's bad? Meech says, I think I told y'all that when we were on our road trip, we did Culver's, and it effing slapped. Yes, Culver's is really good, dude. Those butter burgers are something else. Now, this creator is talking about Houston, but she could be talking about anywhere.
Okay, y'all, so I said I wasn't gonna make this video, but I'm making this video because I'm just very irritated as a Houstonian and someone who remembers what Houston was like before Houston became the new Atlanta / Miami.
I don't know what that means, but okay, go off.
Black-owned businesses that try to promote themselves as these high-end luxury brand restaurants and then do the type of things that we do. Particularly, the thing that I'm hating these days is when you go somewhere and they give you check out on that little block thing that they have, and it's like they purposefully don't show you the breakdown of what you ordered because they want you to leave an additional tip. I have never had a problem with tipping. I have a business.
Okay, what she's talking about there is when it's time to do the check, instead of bringing you a copy of the bill, they bring you a credit card reader, and it basically just says your total on there. So you don't know if they have added in a gratuity or not, is what she's implying, and that you could potentially be charged a gratuity and then add a gratuity onto it, and that's what they're trying to do. I personally hate those little things because as a server, when you hand someone the bill, that is your last chance to sell it to them and remind them of how great of a server you were. So to hand them just an electronic device and walk away just feels cold and impersonal, and I hate it when they do that. That's why Chili's did that to me the last time I went there, whatever, in the spring, and it's just horrible.
I have worked in the service industry. Like, I don't have an issue with it. But what I do have an issue with is dishonesty. And you trying to play me. I work very hard for my money, just like we all do.
Yeah.
And let me see the breakdown.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
You
went to a
should be able to
restaurant
see your receipt.
yesterday,
That's crazy. They don't give you a receipt.
What baffled me was at the bottom of the menu, it says there's a 20% service charge on all food, which is fine because I took 20% regardless. So if you want to take it out on your own recognizance, cool. You was gonna get the same amount.
Right.
You might have gotten
Okay.
more had you not.
Okay.
charged
So
me,
she's saying
automatically, but whatever. It don't
So
matter.
she's saying she's looking at her total and it says like whatever, $112. And you don't know if they have added that 20% in and that's included in the 112 or if that's going to get added or if you need to add a tip or whatever. Okay, I got it.
Bother me. The waitress proceeds to tell me that the service charge is not a part of the tip.
Excuse me? You're charging 20%
So
for
you
what
mean
then?
to tell me that the restaurant charges a 20% service charge and none of that is a part of your tip? So what are you charging me 20% for?
Okay.
And are you-
Now, if you charge 20% service fee, but you say we don't take tips, got you. Totally. That's awesome. But this is crazy. This is crazy.
Wanting me as the waitress, are you wanting me to tip you an additional 20% on top of
So
the
you got to tip
20% automatic service
40%
charge?
now? That's nuts.
So
dude.
40%.
That is nuts, dude.
Almost half.
I don't think anybody's doing that. And no one is giving good enough service to get a tip like that. That at least at these chain restaurants and whatever. That is the Songstress 0514 on TikTok. This guy says, you know, maybe it's the service. It certainly
So I
was
don't
the
normally give
service
bad
for
reviews
him.
to restaurants, nor do I like leave without tipping the server. But if you live in Mississauga, the Chuck's Roadhouse off of
Calling him out,
Dixie,
dude. Calling him out. Doxing the Chucks.
Dixie and Dundas, probably one of the worst restaurant establishments I've ever been in my life.
Meech says that restaurant is shady if that's the case. Yeah, I agree, dude. Like if you're going to charge a 20% service fee and not even say what the service fee is for and you're not giving that service fee to the people who provide the service, which are the servers, ooh, that's nasty, dude. They're just trying to
gave me
make
an
extra margin.
overcooked burger, and the manager refused to take the burger off of the bill. Told me I was wrong. The manager told me I was wrong, that the burger was overcooked.
Sir, your burger's actually perfect, okay? You think it's overcooked and dried out because we pulled it out of the freezer 2 seconds before it hit your plate? Actually, it's not overcooked. It's fantastic burger. And we're going to charge you double for it, actually. So this guy spent $200 on a meal, and his burger was overcooked. Even if the manager thought that it wasn't overcooked, shush. Get the guy a new burger. How hard is that? Take the $12 burger off of his $200 bill, dude. That's nuts. Nuts. Like, you're already struggling as a restaurant, and this is how they treat the customer. That's not good.
And then put the burger on the table and said, do I still want the burger? And did not want to take the burger off the bill. $12 burger.
$12.
On a bill that's over $100.
And it's off Dundas.
Chuck's Roadhouse, what are you doing?
Calling him out, dude. I never been to Chuck's Roadhouse, but it doesn't sound great. This person went to a chain called Cooper's Hawk Winery, and They waited for 2 hours for their dinner, and they still didn't get it.
Been sitting here for 2 hours eating bread because our food never came.
Happy Mother's Day!
And we have another reservation. And I thought I gave us plenty of time to eat. Never got the food. Never got the food.
They don't even have drinks, y'all.
2 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah, they do.
And I paid, and y'all are gonna be like, why would you pay? Because I knew we was in a rush, and I thought the food would be out before we had to go. Like I said, gave us plenty of time to eat. Cooper's Hawk. After that, after I started recording, they brought our food out in 5 minutes. But when I tell you, we didn't even get to sit down and eat our food.
Wow.
We had to leave. So
they had to
Cooper's
take it to
Hawk,
go.
0 out of 10.
I mean, 2 hours they sat at the table, y'all. That is crazy. Meech has been to plenty of restaurants that charge the service fee because they pay their servers a living wage. Then you can choose to tip additionally if you feel like you got exceptional service. Yes, I agree with that, and I actually love when a restaurant charges. And you know what? Take it to the next step. Don't charge a service fee at all. Just increase your menu prices and say, if you want to leave a couple bucks to the server, that's fine, but they get paid a proper hourly wage instead of $3 or whatever we pay servers. I absolutely agree. I love that model. Love that. But if you're gonna charge 20% and then say that doesn't include tip and that money doesn't go to the servers, yes, it seems scammy. Meech also says, Cooper's Hawk is disgusting, never go. I went there to meet a group and it was foul. 0 stars. Okay. Well, hey, they didn't even get to try it. They tried the bread and a drink, and that is it. Black Magic says, exactly, just raise prices then. I'd rather that. That's where I'm at. Pay your employees a living wage and charge whatever it costs. Don't put the charge at the end. Say that these mozzarella sticks are $87 because we have to pay somebody $40 an hour to drop them in the fryer from the freezer. So this guy kind of cracked me up. He said, why are all the restaurants so aggressively mid?
Did every restaurant in America...
This is Zachary Abroad from June of this year.
Sign a secret pact to be aggressively mid? I swear there's a...
He's talking about America specifically? Okay.
Aggressively mid? I swear there's a gentleman's agreement to charge $85 for dinner that's just okay enough so
right?
people don't complain.
Exactly.
The other night, I got gnocchi, $17. And that's for the small portion, mind you. It wasn't that it was bad, it was just kind of there. Soft little potato blobs floating in mediocrity sauce.
And think about how much gnocchi you could get at the store for that same amount of money. That's insane. Becky says, what restaurant is paying the $20 an hour, which is to me a living wage? Yes. You know, a lot of them do. Now they're starting to pay higher wages because the employment market is pretty tight, and a lot of people don't want to work in restaurants anymore. She says, I just don't know of any that are paying servers a ton of money. So it's a real question. Yeah, absolutely. And it tends to be, it's definitely not going to be franchise restaurants doing that. It'll be like one-off locations, like mom and pop type places or higher end places.
Blobs floating in mediocrity sauce. We were feeling
yes,
crazy.
I love
so
the mediocrity
dessert.
sauce.
We got ourselves a sweet treat. The tiramisu, again, it was fine. It just tasted like it came out of the freezer section.
Because it did, dude. That tiramisu was made 6 months ago, dude. That tiramisu was made in October of 2024, and you just ate it in June.
When did we all agree that food that's just okay is enough? I swear these restaurants know, as long as they have Edison bulbs hanging from the ceiling, or a floral wall to take selfies with, or cocktails with rosemary smoking out the glass. They have that.
I swear, dude, I cannot stand the Edison bulbs. Why does every restaurant have to have Edison bulbs? We don't need corrugated steel and Edison bulbs in every restaurant. We get it, you went to a brewery that looked cool, but not every place has to have the exact same vibe. Mediocrity sauce can apply to the decor too.
Instagram crowd, and they are untouchable. They can serve whatever they want. When was the last time you left a restaurant in the U.S. feeling genuinely impressed? Because I haven't
very
had a wow
rarely,
moment in
honestly.
years.
Only the nice places most of the time. But yeah, I thought that was a good opinion, because this guy, Zachary Abroad, he travels all over the world. He tries lots of different kinds of food. And even he is saying all the restaurants in the United States are the same and they're just mid. And I agree, dude. I have to agree. Meech says the Edison bulbs were cool in 2003. Yeah, back when they were new. Back when no one ever thought to take a piece of reclaimed wood and hang Edison bulbs from it and call it a light fixture inside of a brewery. But now every brewery looks just like that. It's a shame, because it's just like the fast food places all look the same. All of the restaurants have to look the same. The brewery type places have to all look the same. Everybody's patio looks the same. They all have the same stupid fireplace. It's just... But yeah, Becky, I'm with you. There's not enough places that are paying people a living wage is the first problem. And when restaurants start paying people a proper amount of money, then you can afford to hire skilled workers who can produce complicated dishes like this. So instead of having frozen tiramisu that you thawed out last week and just gave to somebody and sold it for $10 and you have all of 30 cents invested in it, you could pay an actual chef to make you a delicious tiramisu. And that's really what we want. You know? We all want, when you go out to eat, you want something that you can't have at home. And if they're just taking stuff out of the freezer and heating it up, I think we can all handle that. You don't need to be a trained chef to make taquitos. And you don't need to go to a restaurant to have them. So, yeah. I really hope, like Black Magic said, everyone will vote with their wallets and not support these restaurants that do this crap anymore, because it's bad and it's only getting worse, and it's not going to make it easier for them to start making more money, because as everyone becomes more and more the same and people start to resent restaurants, they're going to quit going. The employees are going to quit working there, and all the shareholders are going to be left holding the bag, the empty bag. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because those guys at the top are the only ones who made money through this entire exploitative process. I guess that's how everything is these days. It is really a shame. Meech says, F, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet. Well, hey. Don't go to Applebee's. Becky says, I think the Jake's on the Lake is the husband birthday dinner. Oh, it's the husband's birthday dinner restaurant. Okay. So that's like a one-off place. I like that. It's a house turned into a restaurant. Okay, see, that's going to be a good spot. There was a spot where I went to college, and it was just a house, okay? And there's 20 seats, and Nancy, she would just make dinner, okay? And if you liked what she made that day, then you could have that, and that's it. They just had the one thing. So you just look at the menu, and you're like, oh, that sounds good. And then you go there, and sometimes there just wouldn't be a seat. But it was like going to your grandma's house for dinner. It was so awesome. I really miss places like that. So let us know how that goes. Jake's on the Lake. That sounds cool. Black Magic says, oh no, not the shareholders. I know, it's a travesty. It really is. Becky says that they don't have broccoli either. Oh my gosh. Well, it's BYOB everywhere you go now. Bring your own broccoli. Okay? So if you're going out to eat and you want broccoli, you got to bring your own. And if you want something different that's not from Cisco, then you got to find one of these places that still employs actual chefs. So if you find one, shout them out in the comments and let me know, because I love good food and I hate all this frozen, reheated garbage that we have. Becky says, we have been there before. It's good. All right. Awesome. I support that. That sounds like a cool place. Maybe I'll check that out next time I'm in the area. But hey, thank y'all for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I hope y'all have a great weekend, and I will see you again on Monday for the extras. Peace.